into the evening hours. Also the minarets with the sound that comes out for the prayer or call to prayer. As it's been stated earlier, evidently they are not going to be used to project the noise. If that's the case, then why build them? All mosques worldwide have the sound through them. So 5 o'clock in the morning, that's going to be quite disturbing to the residents that live in the area. And, excuse me, my voice is shaky. I was going to stick to this, but since there was a trend set by the first off-topic speaker, then I guess I'll speak my mind too. I'm begging you gentlemen and lady, please get yourself knowledgeable about what Sharia law is. There are apostates here in the United States that were former Muslim people, from other countries that have been overwrought and overrun by Sharia law, and that's why they're here in the United States trying to inform people here and explaining what it is. And for those of us in the United States of America that don't believe that it's going to happen and that we can be overrun, we are being told on the news by certain individuals that the flag, or excuse me, the flag of the Muslims will be flown over the White House one day. When you have people from other countries that have been overrun and have had their families destroyed, the country destroyed, and they come here and the United States is turning into the same process of what's happened in their countries, we need to wake up in this country and pay attention to what people that have lived through this before are trying to let people in this country know. We need to wake up. Please, you guys are at the very beginning of this. Please get yourself knowledgeable about what Sharia law is, because it is not a friendly religion. It's not a religion. It's a political ideology. Please. And that's all I have to say. I'm under time. But please, I am begging you again and again and again, just like other people are out here, get yourself knowledgeable about it. Because it's the survival of the United States of America. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Guys, we took a break, and let me just go back again and just reiterate. Let people speak. Please, no outbursts. Let them speak. And the entire 3 minutes. Okay, Mr. Fisk.
Next speaker is Julie Gilbert, followed by Jacqueline LeBlanc, followed by Twilight Leonard.
It'll start when you start.
Oh, good evening. My name is Julie Gilbert, and I've been an area resident for 19 years. And the concern I have about the mosque is a safety issue. I made a diagram here. It's not nearly as suave as the one this gentleman had, but I think it shows the area of the streets pretty well. And it shows that the mosque property sits on a corner bordered by Nicholas and Calle Calibri. Directly across from it, on Calacabria, is the Baptist Church, which Pastor Wrench already addressed you. The only access into or out of the parking areas for either the Baptist Church or the mosque is onto Calle Calibri.
So he was wrong.
It is a narrow lane that dead ends into the property after about 350 feet, and it's identified in the Thomas Guide as a minor road. The other end of the road opens onto Nicholas, where there are no stop signs at the juncture. And as has been brought out already, Calvary has 116 parking spaces, and the mosque at final completion will have 181. In addition, on Calvary on the other side is the Grace Presbyterian, which has 151, which does have egress to Nicholas. According to the Statement of Operations, the mosque will have operations every day of the week, as has been covered, and eventually, after phase 2, they will be from noon to 10 p.m., including Sundays. This means that the mosque and Calvary will be having operations during the same hours, at least on Sunday and probably other days. My concern is regarding in the event of an emergency, where both facilities might need to immediately be evacuated, such as a fire or a bomb threat. You could realistically expect to have almost 300 cars trying to exit these two parking lots. at the same time onto this tiny Cala Calibri and then merge onto Nicholas Road, which would also have to accommodate the evacuation traffic coming out of Grace Presbyterian, another 151 cars. Nicholas is a secondary road with 2 lanes and has been mentioned it has not been upgraded since it was built decades ago when there was far less traffic and the churches did not even exist there. It's already heavily congested at peak hours. How would it accommodate 450 cars at once in an emergency?
Wrap it up.
And how would fire trucks get in? It's obviously an untenable situation, and until it is corrected, I urge the Commission to reject the building of the mosque at this location. I would like also my remarks to be made part of the permanent record. Thank you.
Thank you. Great. Thank you. Next speaker, Mr. Fisk.
Next speaker is Jacqueline LeBlanc, followed by Twilight Leonard, followed by Dr. Walter Mosley.
And by the way, I'm sorry, when the green light goes on when you start talking, just so you know.
Good evening, gentlemen and ladies. I'm going to stick to the subject. I am a member of Concerned American Citizens. I've spoken at both their nights of education. You've all been invited but did not attend, but I'm sticking to traffic this evening. Unknown traffic that perhaps the traffic engineers are not familiar with. On the 16th of November, Concerned American Citizens were informed about the celebration of Eid Day in Temecula. This 7th century Slaughter of the Lamb celebration was taking place at a Temecula home off Rancho California Road. 300 guests and their friends were invited. If so desired, they would be permitted to slaughter their own lamb and touch the pool of blood and chant Allah Akbar. We hired someone to record with a traffic counter the amount of cars that led into the property for only 2 early morning hours. This was to be an all-day affair. There were 100 cars within this short time carrying multiple passengers. San Diego and Los Angeles were mentioned in our contact memo. This Sharia celebration is just one of the many celebrations that will draw crowds from surrounding cities in support of Temecula Mosque celebrations. The traffic is obviously your only concern. Then I suggest that it become your duty to educate yourselves about what might happen during these celebrations to inconvenience and cause fear to the Temecula citizens that pay your salaries. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you very much. Mr. Fisk, next speaker.
Twilight Leonard, followed by Dr. Walter Mosley, followed by Laura Scott.
My name is Twilight Leonard. I've lived in the Temecula Valley for 20 years. America was built on religious freedom. The consulting firm has shown no negative impact on our community for land use. Please do not allow fear to run rampant in our valley. This is about protecting our religious freedoms, no matter what religion you are. I am for the Thank you.
All right, thank you. By the way, again, thank you. I probably sound like a broken record, but it actually does help when you do that. We can see right away, what you guys agree with or disagree with. Next speaker, Mr. Fisk.
Dr. Walter Mosley, followed by Laura Scott, followed by Gabe.
Ladies and gentlemen, lady, good evening to you. My name is Dr. Walden Mosley. I'm a retired physicist and a first-generation immigrant from Germany. Studying religions has been my lifelong interest. Traveling to 26 countries in my lifetime has given me the opportunity to meet many people of the most diversified cultures and religions. Yes, religious people all over the world may be dogmatic in their faith, but display a deep-felt friendliness and a peace-loving attitude to everyone who accepts them the way they are. And the Muslims here in America or abroad are no exceptions. I'm bewildered and deeply saddened that the public so easily judges the whole Islamic religion by the conduct of a few misguided extremists without having a deeper knowledge of the Quran.
Nice.
For me as an immigrant, the written words of the Bill of Rights were very impressive. The First Amendment says so beautiful and concise, Congress shall make no law concerning an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof. The framers of the Bill of Rights, in their wisdom, have put religious freedom beyond the reach of popular opinion and oppression. By doing so, they guaranteed the freedom to practice all recognized faiths, not just to what is most popular locally. Contrary to certain groups fighting what they call the Islamization of America, no religious war can trump the Constitution. All Americans are free to practice their faith according to the laws of their faith. As Catholics under the canon law, Jews under the Jewish law, and Muslims under the many variations of the Islamic law, Sharia. But if and when these laws conflict with American law prevails. It is not an American tradition to accept tenets of our laws only when they are convenient.
Nice.
Knowing the Islamic center of the Temecula Valley and being a good friend of the Imam Mahmoud Hamouche gives me more insight and competence to voice my support for the development of the mosque.
Please wrap it up, sir.
I live in the neighborhood where the mosque is planned, and I have no concern with the easing traffic. Thank you, gentlemen, for letting me.
Thank you. Okay, guys, please. Next speaker, Mr. Fisk.
Next speaker is Laura Scott, followed by Gabe, followed by Michael Toretti.
Dear Planning Commission, my name is Laura Scott, and before I speak, I want to state that I'm not here to pass judgment on the Temecula Valley Mosque, or Muslims in general. I have no insufficient data to do either. That being said, I feel that at this time, Nicholas Road cannot support another facility of this magnitude. I say this because of the fact that the current road is only a double lane, poorly maintained with potholes, and has a poor drainage system in place. I also say this because that if there was ever a major disaster, Nicholas Road would be inadequate to handle a mass exodus from all three churches at the same time. Now, there are some that might argue that there are already two churches on Nicholas Road. What's a third? The other two churches in question are well established and were built when the population in this valley was considerably less. Therefore, at this time, I would ask you to reconsider granting this permit to Temecula Valley Mosque until Nicholas Road has been expanded and is able to handle the extra traffic. Please put my statements as I believe them to be true into public record for agenda number 3. And I thank you for your time.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
just one very quick item. Several people have said, please put my comments in the public record. Everything that's said at this podium tonight is in the public record and is part of the actual record of this case.
Thank you. Next speaker, Mr. Fisk.
Next speaker is Gabe, followed by Michael Toretti, followed by Lorena Bennett.
Let's see. Good evening, everybody. Regarding the traffic, my wife and I, we witnessed 2 accidents. One, a rollover car, Nicholas and Winchester. The other was a motorcycle on Winchester near the MPM. Regarding the additional residents, we need an additional firehouse because more people are going to live here. In response to the lady regarding the Israel, the Temecula Imam with his father demonstrated in the street of Temecula against Israel. Also, the same lady see us to understand the other religions are welcome, they came here, but they didn't bring their own laws. Ladies and gentlemen, we are here this evening to make a decision.